We all know A24 for movies like Hereditary, Everything All Once Everywhere, and Uncut Gems, and plenty of other great movies. But what if A24 started their own record label? Well, they already have, and this is what's going to get interesting because what are they going to do with this record label? Are they going to release music with artists, or are they just going to release original soundtracks? Well, in this video, let's dive into what those possibilities could look like. So A24 has had an amazing track record when it comes to movies. Anytime you see the A24 on a trailer or the beginning of a movie, you know something unique is about to happen. Because A24 isn't afraid of taking risks. They're open to doing unique things or taking unique approaches on concepts in movies. So what would it look like if they made a record label? So far, we've only seen them release scores and movies, but let's say they partnered with artists. What could this look like? Well, I could see them maybe partnering with some well-known artists and doing some exclusive releases. Maybe something like with Billie Eilish or a super indie band like Radiohead, and do something unique with a movie where maybe they write the score or the soundtrack. Or maybe they just work together and say, we have this an idea for a movie, but it's not gonna get made. Can you take that concept and make an album, and we'll release it under the A24 record label? Totally possible. Or maybe they're going to make their own roster of artists. Now, I could see this be done in a couple of different ways. I don't think they're going to sign people for multi-year deals, but rather, I think they're either going to go the route of picking popular artists, doing a very unique release like I said before, or finding very niche artists. And there's two ways I think they're going to go down this path. First, I think they could find an artist that has a very loyal fan base, but just hasn't blown up yet. They could do this simply by looking at who's able to tour regularly, who has a consistent and loyal fan base on streaming services, and maybe reaching out and asking for people to apply. You'll probably find a unique blend of artists that are maybe indie and funk and pop, or a combination of genres that maybe we just really haven't heard yet. Or maybe they'll find a band or an artist that's kind of ready to take the torch from a previous band and go from there. I'm not saying we're going to find the next Billie Eilish or the next Lorde, but if A24 was to discover them and say, hey, let's do a record deal for one record, that's a pretty good opportunity and could really kickstart and compel that artist's career. And for young and upcoming artists or new artists, if A24 is starting to pick up people like that, that's honestly the dream. A24 doesn't really seem like they want to be tying down artists. They want to do one thing with one artist and then say, hey, let's see what happens next. So whatever deal they do, it's not going to be long term. It's going to be a really good opportunity to say, you do this, you write the album, you tour on it for a year or whatever, and then you're free to do whatever you want. And if that means getting approached by another record label, re-signing up with A24, or maybe you're at a point where you can go indie and release and produce everything however you want, depending on how much money you make and what that A24 contract looks like, which I'm sure will be kind of generous because A24 isn't really about holding artists back. Yeah, they want to make money, but they're more about artistic integrity. So I think that's also a solid option that A24 could do to find artists. The second way is find something that you think the industry is missing. And I think A24, whether they know it or not, they kind of do that in movies. They kind of look out there and say, well, what aren't people doing? Let's do that. Or they find something that's unique that isn't happening inside of the popular sphere, and then they make it popular. Again, this could be where they find a band that is fusing multiple genres together, or an up-and-coming artist that just hasn't blown up yet. This is a great opportunity for A24 to kind of be the next talent scout. Right now, everyone's kind of looking at TikTok and social media and streaming numbers, and A24 has the ability to cut right through all that and say, we're just going to release music and release artists and promote them because we like them, because we think their stuff is cool. doesn't really care what other people think or say. They're not looking for some sort of number for approval. They just look at something, think it's quality, and say, let's do it. And that's powerful. That has a strong backing on your product and your artist for you to do that. So if A24 is willing to do that for artists, that could be a game changer. Now, A24's movies, they're often produced on a low budget, and I think indie artists, they're able to make great music on a low budget. And most of that kind of goes onto the artists themselves. All that work goes onto the artists themselves. A24 provides the pathway to movies and other platforms. Again, I think that's a great way for A24 to support artists is through this. I don't think it needs to be something big where everyone can take advantage of it, but it's got to be something that A24 will look at all the artists that are potentially applying or all the artists they're considering, and they've got to say, we've got to pick the ones that we really believe in. So what's this mean for us as musicians? Well, overall, it'd be great if A24 does any of the things I've mentioned before, but if they don't, the bottom line I would say is make sure you're believing in the work that you are making. Don't half-ass whatever song you're working on or be like, it sounds good enough. Own it. Make it the best you can, because when it's the best version of the song that you can make it, other people are going to believe in it too. And I think that's the whole concept behind A24's movies, is that they may not have the biggest budget or the most well-known actors or actresses, but because the filmmakers and the actors and actresses and the entire crew believe in that movie, they put their whole heart into it, and it shows, and it's reflected as a great movie, beautiful piece of work of art. So do the same for your music, and whether A24 does their own record label or not, I'm sure you're going to get noticed. What do you guys think? Do you think A24 is going to be making their own record label anytime soon? And how do you think they're going to go about releasing albums or maybe finding artists to represent the label? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.